Welcome to another week of Honey from the Word. Today's devotion is titled Learning from Nature, Four Wise Things, from Proverbs chapter 30, verses 24 through 30. There are four things which are little on the earth, but they are exceedingly wise. The ants are a people not strong, yet they prepare their food in the summer. The rock badgers are a feeble folk, yet they make their homes in the crags. The locusts have no king, yet they all advance in ranks. The spider, skillfully grasped with its hands, and it is in kings' palaces. A man by the name of Agur wrote Proverbs 30, but all we know of him is that he was the son of Jakiah. In these 5 verses we read, we see the wisdom that can be gained by nature and how this wisdom can be used to teach us spiritual lessons. We begin with the ants. They show their wisdom by preparing their meat in the summer, seeking for it and storing it when it may be had, not for winter consumption, for they sleep all that time, but for autumn and spring. They prepare for the future. We must be prepared for the future. Life is so short, and we have no promise of tomorrow. We should be alarmed if we were sure not to live a month, and yet we are careless, though we are not sure to live a day, says Matthew Henry. James 4:14 says this, whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow, for what is your life? It is even a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away. There are a lot of things that people will put off or delay doing. A man may delay fixing the screen door. Some put off prayer, Bible reading, on and on. But there's one thing we better not put off. There should be no delay at all in this. We should make preparation for the future, preparation to meet God. We'd better make plans now without a moment's delay. We never know when we will hear those words, this night your soul will be required of you. Second of all, the badgers. It's most likely that this is what is referred to as the daemon Israel, a creature very much like a rabbit, but never burrowing in the ground, but dwelling in the clefts and holes of rocks. They make their houses in the rocks where they are well guarded and sheltered. They build upon the rocks. What kind of foundation are we building upon? We must build upon Christ as the rock. If we build on any other foundation, it will be fatal. Matthew 7:24 through 27 reads this way, therefore, whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain descended, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, and it did not fall, for it was founded on the rock. Now, everyone who hears these sayings of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the rain descended, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, and it fell, and great was its fall. Sooner or later, in every life, the rains will descend. The winds will blow or they'll beat. The floods will rise. But for one man, the house of life will fall in ruin, while for the other, it will stand secure. The difference will not be the intensity of the storm. Hear me. The difference will not be the intensity of the storm, but in the strength of the foundation. If we build upon the words of Jesus, we will be able to stand or withstand to the end. The third one is the locust. Though they have no leader, yet they go forth by troops, some miles in circumference when they take wings. They work together. They work together in unity, and they aren't divided. Matthew 12:25 says, "But Jesus knew their thoughts and said to them, Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself will not stand." You see, we need to remember that sinners are watching our lives, and if they come to our church and they find people arguing, one group against another, one group upset with the preacher and ready to leave or get rid of him, and they probably won't come back. What we need to do is bind in unity, in one accord, until the power of God will come down and revive us and save the lost. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 24 says, "And a servant of the Lord must not quarrel, but be gentle to all, able to teach, patient." So let's heed the word of God and lay aside our differences and draw together in unity. And finally, the spider. They teach us the value of patience and perseverance. It takes time to weave a web. We have to have patience and perseverance in our work for the Lord. One day we'll end up in the presence of the King of Kings and we'll be surrounded by the palace of heaven. Patience means it is the will or the ability to wait, or endurance without complaint. Wow, endurance without complaint. Steadiness, endurance, or perseverance in performing a task. The word endurance, according to Webster's dictionary, it stresses the capacity to bear suffering or hardship. Perseverance, according to Webster, implies a continuing to do something in spite of difficulties and obstacles. That's what the spider teaches. Paul said in Philippians 4:11, "Not that I speak in regard to need, for I have learned in whatever state I am to be content." He was able to accept whatever condition he was in and just be content. For he knew what waited him if he was patient and he endured to the end. James 5:7 says, "Therefore, be patient, brethren, until the coming of the Lord. See how the farmer waits for the precious fruit of the earth. Wait patiently for it until it receives the early and the latter rain." Wow, what wonderful lessons we have learned from nature. And may we take these lessons to heart. The ant who prepares for the future, the badger who is building on a firm foundation, the locusts who demonstrate unity, and the spider who talks to us about patience and perseverance. May the Lord bless you abundantly.